Digital Main Street. Beautiful. Okay. If you ever send a chat message. No, just like say anything. I'm curious. I just want to see what happens. Nothing. It's weird. Oh, live chat. Hey guys, just bear with us for a second. We're just trying to figure out the kinks here, and then we're going to get started. Live chat. If I bring it up, just ask my colleague as well. So we're just going to wait a few more minutes, guys, and then we'll get started. So it does show, just not to you. It's kind of weird. Oh, that's a group chat. Is there a live chat? So it does show. If anyone else is on there, can send a chat message on the right side of the screen there to just let us know that it's working. You should see a message from Mike saying hi. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So we got two messages. For anyone else on here, feel free to send a message in the right on the chat box there. We do have all the questions that you guys submitted beforehand, but we can answer messages on the go or any additional questions that pop up. It's 1:32. We'll give it 2 minutes and then we'll get started. Okay, good. Hi, Jody. Hi, InSync Forward One Food Prep. We're happy to have you, Jody. Also, I will preface this by saying this is mine and Mike's first time doing this, so please be gentle.
Yeah. And if there is any last minute questions, just put them in the live chat. I don't know if we'll get to them right away, but we'll take a look at the end for anything that comes in last minute. No chat.
It's right there. So that's what we'll do.
Well, I can just leave this up.
I'll do both.
Cool.
All right, cool. Well, we won't waste any more time. Looks like we've got 13, 14 friends with us. So welcome everyone. Apologies, I'm getting over a pretty bad cold. My name is Daryl. I'm the senior manager of Digital Main Street. We're trying this event out. First time we've done something like this today. But we really, we wanted to answer your questions, and we wanted to kind of give you guys the answers to the questions that you were asking. We've partnered with one of our partners. Sorry, Mike is from Bookmark. I'm not going to do any kind of introduction. I'm going to let Mike speak for himself. So, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Bookmark, what you guys do?
Sure. So my name is Mike McMillan. I'm the head of product for Bookmark.com, and I've been involved with digital marketing for about 7 years and counting. With Bookmark for the past couple of years, we've been working on making the easiest do-it-yourself website builder. We do this by using artificial intelligence, a program we call Ada. It's an artificial intelligence design assistant that builds the website basically for any small business owner that doesn't really know where to start. And we're just trying to improve that every day and make it easier to build websites. We know it's hard out there.
And I can definitely vouch for them on the level of easiness and just how fast you can get a website live. So I highly recommend everyone check out bookmark.com if you haven't already. Also in the follow-up communications, when I send the recording, I'll send you guys a link too. So no worries if you don't do it now. We have a few questions we're going to kind of go over high level at the jump, and then from there, I literally just have a list of questions everyone asked, and we're going to work our way through them. So if we happen to miss your question, we did get quite a few. Please feel free to follow up with me directly. Would be happy to chat with you again, myself and Mike. Happy to send you an email, anything like that. So please, if for whatever reason we don't get to your specific question, or if you have an additional question that comes up, just reach out to us. So what I really wanted to start with was a very high level, simple question for you, Mike. Before we kind of get into the questions people submitted, if I was to ask you right now, what are the 3 areas a small business should focus on when it comes to digital marketing? At any level, really, what would you say are kind of the 3 most important buckets that this will come?
Sure. So we'll go pretty high level with this one, so it applies to everyone. The starting point, the first step is just knowing who your customer is. So that could be just getting a general idea of exactly who the majority of your customer base looks like. So you can do that from a profile, looking at stats, looking at your analytics, seeing what age range, what gender, what preferences these people have, because everything in your marketing efforts after that is directly for this person. You want to best suit your brand for that ideal customer. So I'd say that's number 1. Number 2 is knowing that customer's journey. So looking at in your website or in your business, what steps do they go through? So what branding do they see initially to get to your homepage, for example, to get to your newsletter? What do they see there in terms of headline, branding, what messaging you're using? And then where do they go from there? So do they go to a pricing page? We have to go through that journey step by step, seeing that everything makes sense, everything's clear, and it's directed at that one customer. When we narrow it down like that, people that will need your service or your business, it'll speak directly to them. And that's what we want. We don't want to speak to everyone. We want to speak to your customers. So I'd say that's number 2. And then number 3 is finding one marketing channel that works. It doesn't have to be try everything in the world, try Facebook, try Google. It doesn't have to be that way. It's just a matter of finding one that works and using your resources for that. Because part of your resources, rather than just money, has an unlimited marketing budget, but it's also your time as a small business owner. So you need to be able to manage this. You need to be able to optimize it over time. Look at the reports and make sure it is working and make sure it is turning leads into customers. So just focus on one. Once you have one working, then you can expand and experiment with different options. But starting to get that one and getting a steady flow of customers is a big factor.
Awesome. So it sounds like kind of the key takeaways from that are, start simple and make sure, you kind of, start with one and, make it work and then kind of expand.
Yes.
But also make sure that everything is customer focused.
Exactly.
That sounds like that's the most important thing, is everything is geared towards your ideal customer and that person at the end of the day, whoever that might be.
Exactly. And it's hard to say who that customer is from my perspective, but everyone's going to be different. A coffee shop customer is going to be a lot different than a consultant customer. But every individual business has to look at that, look at who their most common customers are, what age range, and even make up a fake profile for this potential person and call them a name, look at their demographics, draw a picture of them, and then all marketing efforts moving forward should be directed towards that person.
Awesome. And I couldn't agree more, guys. Everything we do at Digital Main Street is small business focused, but we're definitely always thinking about our customer and how we can better engage and serve them. So everything, and to Mike's point, it applies to everyone and every type of business. You may have to take different approaches based on your industry. So the other one I had kind of off the top before we dive in what were some of the developments or new trends that you saw in 2018? So kind of, January till now, what were some of the things that you saw that might have been new or, things that changed, platforms that came or went or anything like that?
So maybe not necessarily new, but something that's being more and more, I guess you could say, relevant for 2018 and moving forward is there's a couple of things that come immediately to mind. So AI is one. This is going to be everywhere very soon. So people need to pay attention and see what they're doing, see what tools are doing, because it will make your life easier. And it doesn't have to be on a high level like Netflix, where they show you certain box covers based on your preferences, based on your entire previously watched movies, and have the perfect suggestions. It doesn't have to be an algorithm like that. To apply to small business, it could be something as simple as adding an AI chatbot to your website. So there's a lot of developments now, and there's a lot moving forward that's really important for AI and to really understand as a small business owner for AI. But there's a lot more to come, so just something to be aware of and moving forward. So the other one would be video marketing. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So it's important to get your videos out there. We see a 75% increase in conversions for websites that do have even just an introduction video on their homepage. So when people come on, they can click, learn a little bit about your business, learn what you do, and in most cases see the owner explain it, which means a lot. And it also increases the chances of being shared. YouTube videos last forever. So when you do these videos, they're not going to go away. Whereas a Facebook ad or a banner ad is gone as soon as it's clicked. So video marketing, very, very high growth in 2018. And again, looking forward, this will be very useful for people.
Awesome. Yeah. It's made me realize that we don't have a video for Digital Main Street. So I've got some homework to do.
This will be the first one.
So we're going to jump into questions that people asked when they registered. I'm going to kind of just go all over the place. Like, obviously there's no order. We've gotten, we had over 100 questions submitted. So again, if we miss one of your questions, or if you have a question kind of on the go, please feel free to just pop it in the chat and we'll do our best to kind of get to it. So I guess the first question on my list here, and feel free to kind of interpret these in your own way. Some of them are a little more vague and high level. And I'm not going to say who asked what questions. I'm going to respect people's privacy. First question, how often per week is good for digital marketing? And then it says, I really do not want to annoy my clients by engaging with them too often.
That's definitely valid. You don't want to annoy your customers. That's never a good sales tactic. I think this is probably most relevant for newsletter marketing. You don't want to be sending newsletters every hour because obviously that's annoying. You don't want to be sending newsletters once a year because you're not consistent. Nobody will hear what you have to say. So there is a middle ground where you can be effective but not annoying, and it's very variable on the business. It'll depend completely on the customer, on the industry, For software, it's important to stay in their inbox multiple times a week, whether it's promotions, announcements on new features, helpful tips on how to use something. And for a restaurant, for example, it might be completely different. So what you have to do is, for newsletter marketing, it's important to know your open rates and your conversion rates, how many people click, how many people sign up for whatever you're selling or claim a promotion through this newsletter. So if you know those rates, you'll be able to see pretty quickly if a ton of people are unsubscribing after you send 2 newsletters in one day. That's probably too much. But if nobody's unsubscribing, your list is growing, you have active opens, good click-through rate, and people are reading your emails, then keep sending them. It helps.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to add to that is you can very easily find, sorry, I'm having trouble staying on camera. You can very easily find kind of industry averages and best practices. So whatever industry you're in, you can definitely, to Mike's point, you can find kind of what the best open rate is, click-through rate, et cetera, and you can kind of benchmark your business based on that. I do want to put you on the spot a little bit. Sure. If I was to ask you 2 parts, both the best day to send a newsletter and the best time based on your experience.
Based on my experience in our business, the best day and the best time, it would be from Tuesday or Wednesday are about the same. Those are the peak times. Monday, people are usually slammed with promotions, work emails, everything. So that's not great. You still might get the open rate, but you're not going to get the engagement. We find Tuesday and Wednesday is the best, and morning. If you send at night, it could sit in their inbox all day. It gets buried, and it just won't get seen, or maybe it gets deleted because other important things pop up that morning. So if you're in their inbox in the morning, Tuesday or Wednesday, that works best for us. Again, it is variable because for a restaurant, maybe sending out a promotion on a Friday night could be an advantage. But again, it's important to see what your rates are to be able to make that determination.
Yeah. Again, I can vouch for everything you just said. We, as I'm sure you guys receive constant emails from Digital Main Street, we like to send our newsletters Tuesday morning or Tuesday just after lunch. So another high level question, and again, feel free to kind of go any direction with this. Mm-hmm. How do I decide on which platforms to use, how often to use them, and the number of platforms to use?
So that's another highly variable question for platforms. So deciding which platform we're talking about digital marketing, I'm going to guess this is geared towards advertising platforms. I'll take it that way. If I'm wrong, then feel free to send us a comment or send us an email and I can clarify. But for advertising platforms, it goes back to my initial point. Find one, test it, put the time in, make sure you know your reporting, make sure it's working for you. And if it's not working, that's fine. Move to a different one. And these platforms could be Facebook ads, it could be Google ads, it could be native banner ads. You could be just doing email marketing. So there's a lot of things to think about in that. And like I said, best thing to do is stick with one and work it until it either works or doesn't work, and then try a different one. That would be my advice there. And again, if I missed the question, please let me know.
Yeah, and I guess, it's chances are it was advertising. If it was social specific, I think, and feel free to jump in, but I think it's, you just have to figure out what works for your business. So, Instagram's obviously a very aesthetically pleasing platform. So if you're a food-based business or clothing or something like that, of course, that probably is going to work better for you than a service-based business on Instagram. LinkedIn is a great platform for if you're a service-based business building your personal brand. So a lot of them can be used in different ways. It's really kind of figuring out where you fit in that ecosystem and what's going to work best for you.
So a good way to find out which platform you should use too, if you have no knowledge of any advertising platforms, see what your competitors are doing. So if you know of somebody that is advertising, that is in your space, or even if you just do a Google search, you'll find out who's advertising right away. So that's a good place to start. Just see what other people in your industry, in your area even are doing. And that's probably a good sign that it's working.
And just to add to that, I challenge anyone that's watching this right now or the recording, if you do not have a Google My Business listing, that is definitely a place you should start because it's free, it's simple, it's easy to use.
Yes.
And nobody paid me to say that. I'm just a very big believer in the platform and everything you can do with it. Okay, what do we have here? All right, let's keep with the theme of high level. How can a business get more sales by implementing digital marketing techniques? So again, I know very robust question, but maybe just a few key points.
Sure. So if we go back to my overall 3 points of knowing your customer, knowing their journey, and finding a channel that works, part of narrowing down all of those points is it's just going to result in more sales. If you have a better idea of who your customer is, you'll have a better idea of how to position your brand, write your headlines, do your promotions, and it'll snowball into more sales. Just increasing what people see through that journey based on you knowing who they are. So if they see, for example, a landing page, an email capture page, and they get an email that goes for promotion, and then they buy. So in each of those 4 steps, if you're speaking directly to the customer, if you improve the click-through rate by 5% on each of those, you're going to get another sale every few people that come in. So just focusing on what the customers are actually doing and what you're trying to sell, and what your goal is. So for some people, getting more sales might be collecting newsletters on a website, or newsletter subscriptions from a website. That could be through social media as well, collecting emails, and then your sale could actually be sending out that email. So just making sure you can measure the open rates, the conversion rates from that email, if that's your sale, and that's what you're using. It's about optimizing all the steps up to that point.
Awesome. And I'm sure anyone watching this can attest that they've got that, that business or that company that sends them, that daily email, and you get, they suck you right in. There's nothing you can do about it. For me personally, it's Domino's Pizza. Every Friday they seem to be offering me 50% off everything, and without fail, they get my money. So
yeah, that's good timing.
It's absolutely true. The other thing I was going to say, sorry, I meant to say this earlier when we were talking about trends in 2018. I had a really interesting experience the other day. So I buy my jeans from a company in Los Angeles. I like the fit. I like the way they, I like everything about them, the price, you name it. But so I was on their site. They've got the traditional chat bot. They've got that, that AI customer service component we talked about. Yeah. And I didn't engage with it. I just happened to, be looking around. I wasn't logged in or anything. And then about 10 minutes later, I got a text message. And I'll read you exactly what it says. It scared the heck out of me. It was from an AI chatbot related person technology, I guess we'll call it. And they said, hey Daryl, this is Sarah sending you an automated message from company X. I noticed you were looking at this product. Great choice. I want me to see if I can get you our best deal. So I wasn't going to buy, and I thought, you know what? What's the harm in seeing what the best deal is? And then, they sent me a deal I couldn't refuse, and they got my sale. So, I have no idea what technology does that. As soon as I find it, I'll send you guys an email, but this stuff like this is happening every day. They knew me, they suckered me right now. Oh, this is a good one, and I think you've touched on it a bit. I don't sell any product in a service-based business. How can I best market a service-based business? Maybe some best practices and, the best.
Sure, yeah. So to best market, it comes down to getting the most sales, making the most money. So for a service-based business, it would be finding out how you're getting those sales. So to do digital marketing, if you're getting those sales by sending a promotional email, then your marketing efforts should go towards collecting an email list and building that up. Because once that's built up, if you have 1,000 people on your email list, if you get a 20% open rate and 5% click-through rate, you're going to get a certain number of sales. So then it just comes down to building as much of that, building that list up as best as you can. So then the marketing becomes doing maybe social media promotions, maybe buying advertising to a landing page that describes what you do and collects an email to give away, I don't know, a free coupon or something to get people to subscribe. Free ebook, maybe, if you're a consultant. Maybe it's just them reading blog posts and then they sign up. But if you're in a service-based industry, you have to find out where your sales are coming from and where your opportunities are to boost those sales. So I would say mostly it's newsletters. Typically, that's what we see.
Yeah, another example we've seen kind of firsthand at Digital Main Street is the power of Google reviews, especially in the service-based business, and asking for them, because oftentimes, like when I go to buy, this shirt, or, Mike bought that dress shirt, chances are we're not asking each other what we think. But if I'm gonna get my car fixed, or if I'm gonna have, central vac installed in my house, chances are I'm probably gonna call someone who I know has done it, and I'm gonna ask them who they recommend, because that's just kind of the way the service industry is, as opposed to, traditional products. And a great business that is doing tremendous work with this, right here in Toronto, it's called the Etobicoke Service Center. They are a central vacuum installation and also sell vacuums. They're based on Islington Avenue in the village of Islington. If you, for whatever reason, you stop in and you speak with Bill, please tell him that Daryl sent you. But no, honestly, he does a tremendous job accumulating reviews, and he's just anecdotally talking to him, he said what an increase in business he's seen just from having that presence and having that kind of positive word of mouth. And I think the stat that I saw the other day was that 88% of people trust an online review today as much as a personal recommendation. So if you look at that, which is a staggering number, people are now almost trusting a complete stranger who has just typed this review as much as, Mike telling me what he thought about, X business. Mm-hmm. So again, just some food for thought, but.
Yeah, and that goes back to if most of your sales come from referrals, then that's something you can optimize too, and look at the customer journey there. If they go through your funnel, if they become a client and they're happy, you do the job, you complete the service, and you know that they're happy, that's something you can look at as automating and speeding up and optimizing. Just asking for a review after the fact, asking for a referral, setting up an automatic email to do that and send to them after a certain period of time, or after a certain event is accomplished, like the service is complete or the course is complete, then that's something you can work on too. But referrals that's great. That's the gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now switching gears a little bit. So all this one said was digital marketing application recommendations. So let's kind of interpret this. So I guess from a marketing standpoint, what are some of the tools and softwares that you kind of use and highly recommend?
Some of the tools. So we use Intercom every day, which is our live chat system.
Okay.
That also automates our email system, and with Intercom, we're able to reach out to specific people when they do specific things. So it's not as in-depth as sending a text message after you glance out a page. But we'll be able to see if somebody has, for example, created a website. If they've gotten to a certain point and got stuck, then we can send out an email to that person. So this tool is a little bit more advanced for us because we have a pretty in-depth software. But live chat is definitely something that is important that everyone should look at. It's not expensive. It could be as easy as installing Facebook Messenger as a little pop-up bubble so people can send you direct messages. And when customers are asking questions, that's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
So that would be one. To go a little bit further, for tracking, Google Analytics is free.
Yeah.
That's still what we use.
Yeah,
that's the best.
You can't beat it.
Very easy to install and very easy to learn too. You don't have to start with doing in-depth reports. You can just start by looking at your traffic and looking at your demographics. Easy
awesome. What about social media management software? So I know, we've got Hootsuite, Buffer, we've got a ton of them. What's, don't tell me what the best is because I know everyone has their opinion. What's your favorite?
Buffer's great. I've used them all. They all accomplish the same thing. It's really, it comes down to preference. There's so many tools to manage social media now. You could even just schedule your posts right from Facebook. That works fine too. You don't need to do an all-inclusive tool that includes all of your social media. I prefer, so personally, I like the ones that are somewhat automated. So if we have a blog post written and we need to post it to social media, I like a tool that can pick that post up through our RSS feed and automatically schedule it, so I don't have to do it.
So are we talking like a Zapier type thing?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So something that can automate the publishing and then the scheduling as well. Just for blog posts, you don't really want to automate personal messages or announcements. But for something like a blog that you have to do and it's time consuming, it's perfect. So something that can just pick up the post right away, schedule it that day, publish it, do social media, and then even publish it on set times afterwards. So set it on a schedule, launch that day, repost it after a week, repost it after a month, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not familiar, Zapier, Zapier, is basically, the best way I can describe it is a connection tool. So it basically builds a bridge between varying apps and sources, I guess. So like Mike said, you can connect, your RSS feed on your blog to your social media channels and have Zapier automatically make that connection. You can have it automatically make a connection between your website and say MailChimp if you're using that for email marketing, or your CRM or anything like that. So it really is kind of this middleman tool that just allows you to connect all your services in a way that makes sense for your business. That's why I love it. The way we use it for Digital Main Street is, I'm sure the way we use it is very different from the way you use it. And it's probably very different from the way any of you guys would use it. But whatever you need to do, you can accomplish with it. And it's a very easy to use, cost-effective tool.
Yeah, that's a good point. That covers a lot of tools because you can connect anything. Yeah. And as long as you can use the tool, the point is to make your life easier. If automating certain things like that makes it easier, then it's awesome. It's worth doing.
Just when we're talking about apps and getting a little side tangent of digital marketing, what are some of your favorite just overall apps that you use on a daily basis?
Analytics, for sure, every day. We use Amazon Sendy a lot, which is a newsletter platform. Okay. And
do you guys use Slack or any of those?
Oh yeah, so Slack to keep in communication with every department, marketing, customer support. Slack is a great tool. It's hard to remember it on when talking about digital marketing because it's used for everything. Yeah. But for anyone that hasn't heard of Slack, it's just an instant messenger that you can set up between your coworkers. And there's a lot of integrations you can use as well with it, like Google Calendar, and send yourself reminders when certain events are coming up. You can get notifications depending on your payment gateway, but if, say, you're a consultant and you get an online payment, you can throw that right into your channel, which is pretty cool. But most importantly is the communication, making sure everyone's on the same page. So Slack is really important. We use Trello a lot as well. You use Trello. So project management and just really easy way to make a couple columns, have an on-hold column, an in-progress column, and a completed column. So you can invite all your employees, show your tasks for the day, and just move it over. It's very simple, very easy to collaborate, and that's what we use every day, just as much as Slack.
A little less related to digital marketing, but by far my two favorite apps that save my life 14, 15 times a day. One is called LastPass, and it's just a password saver. So for those of you who refuse to use the same password for every site like you should, LastPass is just a Google Chrome plugin, and what it'll do is it'll just save your password for everything. So whether it's your MailChimp, your website, your social media, your 4 different social media accounts, etc., it just makes it very, very easy to log back in. And then the other is an app called Todoist. So to-do list minus the L. And that's just for all of you guys who are hopefully not like me, but are slightly unorganized. It just allows you to really jot down something, put a reminder, put a time, and it pops up. So even though it's not directly related to digital marketing, a lot of times I will use LastPass for things like, remember to push this blog post live, or remember to do X. So it does factor in a little bit, but again, off tangent, just wanted to throw that out there. Staying on the topic of Facebook, a bit of a technical question. Mm-hmm. On Facebook, if someone tags your personal page regarding something business related, is there a way to reply with your business page? So I'm reading that verbatim. So
yeah, I guess you would have to just sign into your business page and reply to the comment as the business. I don't know if there's any way to switch over the comment to switch the tag. Yeah. Probably not. But yeah, if it's just a comment or a question, you should be able just to switch over to your business account and reply to that question.
Perfect. So again, the question was, if someone on Facebook tags your personal page regarding something business related, can you reply as a business? And the answer apparently is yes. Essentially, the way to do that is to sign into your business account and comment on the page. Jody, will you guys have a list of these lovely resources you are listing after recording? Absolutely, we can. Yeah, 100%. We'll try and put everything we can together. We're not writing things down now, though, so if there's anything specifically you want and you want to chat more about, just jot it down, and I'm happy to chat to you. Okay, this is an interesting one. What is the most effective low-cost marketing tool to introduce a new consumer product into the marketplace? So single answer, single marketing tool, brand new product. I want to take it live. What's your recommendation?
Does it say the product?
No, it just says low-cost marketing tool to introduce a new consumer product.
A new consumer product. So the best way would be to launch either with an affiliate program or an influencer that you speak with beforehand. So let's say, for example, you're launching a new, I don't know, what's an electronic device that you're launching a new smartwatch. Let's go with that. So during the launch, it's really important to set up these things beforehand to make sure you have a really powerful, let's go YouTube influencer that can do some reviews. You can send out some free copies, make sure they can get their hands on it, show it to their audience. And typically, if you can get to an influencer, preferably in your area, but at least in your country, that can talk about this product, promote it. You may have to pay them a bit, but to get in front of an audience that is looking for this information, that is looking for tech reviews, and looking for this recommendation from this powerful influencer that they trust because they're watching him or her. So they follow the channel, they trust the channel, and if they launch a new product and review it and it's a positive review, it's going to do well. So the best way is to talk to these people beforehand, send out a consumer product, get it into their hands, get a review, and that's how you should do the launch. Get a few of these beforehand for right when they're launching, and that means all of these influencer people that are following their channel are going to probably check out you, at least a good percentage, because this is a high trustworthy source. So influencer, and that goes kind of hand in hand with an affiliate. Yeah. So one software solution you can use, and it is very low cost, is setting up an affiliate platform. With the software, it basically gives specific links that track back sales. So if you're running e-commerce, if you give out an affiliate tracking code to an influencer or to just any partnership, really, just any person that has an influencer or a newsletter list, another company that just has a big newsletter list, they do a promotion. The sales track back to that specific affiliate, and then you pay per sale. So you're not paying $10,000 for this big marketing campaign beforehand. You're only paying if you get that sale. Maybe it's $10, maybe it's 10%. It depends. The commission depends on a lot of factors, but basically you don't have to pay unless you get sales. So that would be the most effective low cost way.
So basically, when we're talking affiliate, we're looking at a way to generate revenue and basically guarantee ROI because you're only paying when.
Yes. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So to determine that, so if you have a smartwatch that's selling for $200 and your margin is $100, so you make $100 profit off that, you're probably going to give up maybe $50 to get a sale. You still make $50. The affiliate makes $50, and the product's out there. The product's out there. You get a sale. So you're still making money, but you're not paying for the sale unless it actually happens.
And influencers, guys, I'll share kind of the best example I've ever seen. For those of you who are familiar with Casper mattresses, so it's a mattress company out of the States. It's that famous bed in a box, model. They'll ship you a mattress to your house that comes in a package this big. There's Canadian counterparts and stuff now. And essentially what they did when they launched, because they were trying to disrupt the industry, is they spent a ton of time, money, and resources on influencer marketing. So, you had every famous musician, athlete, et cetera, posting pictures on Instagram with these mattresses. I'm sure if anyone has taken the TTC to Toronto in the last, I'll be bold and say the last 10 days, chances are you've seen on the streetcar or on the subway advertisements for Casper and that say, use this code, $65 off, staying TTC, or, use this code to do this. So they not only have their influencers and affiliate programs for individuals, they also have, almost a quasi-affiliate program for tracking ROI on advertising spend.
Yeah.
So they are someone who did a phenomenal job. Yes, they were extremely well funded, so they were able to spend, a ton of money, but there's ways that you can do this stuff, across the board without spending a ton of money. I know Mike is responding to a question right now on the chat. But for those of you who maybe can't see the chat, he just sent out a link that we'll share afterwards. A great affiliate program is Post Affiliate Pro.
Yeah, that's what we use. It's a little bit more complicated in the setup. It requires a lot of developer integration. There are easy ones out there. So I posted a link as well just for the top results, and again, go through the reviews, see what works for you. There's a lot of different pricing options. Some of them just provide links that are trackable, which if that's what you need, then that's it.
Just trying to see what you got here. Well, this is an interesting one. I'm going to put Mike on the spot a little bit. How do you build an email marketing campaign from scratch without an existing opt-in database? One, is that possible? And two, what is the best way to do it if it is?
Sure. So you'll need a way to opt people in. So you'll need a pop-up on your website or a landing page that collects emails. From there, you have to look at customer journey. So if they opt into an email, they're expecting a welcome email. So that would be one to check off right away. Sorry, reading chat.
Yeah.
So that would be one to check off right away, just a basic welcome email. Maybe you could do a double opt-in email at that point as well. And from there, it's just building out the campaign on how you want it to look. So for software, using us as an example, we have a couple different campaigns that we split up based on what our customers need. So one of them is onboarding, which is when building a website, what tips do they need to know? What do they need to know about connecting a domain? What do they need to know about publishing the website? And through a series of emails, we hit on a bunch of these points. And then after that, we have a sales campaign, which is more, so after you've completely built your website, here's what you need to do to upgrade and take these next steps and launch your e-commerce site or launch your website with a custom domain. So for us, it comes down to those things. So it depends on what you want the customer to do. That will determine how you build it, but then you can just start with a couple of different options. So if one is onboarding and one is promotions, then just think about what steps do they need to go through to get to that point of sale. Maybe it's building a website, maybe it's reading an ebook, and then after that, scheduling usually it's a sales email with a promotion to get people to really look at the benefits and buy the product.
But I think if we're looking at that question, it really is kind of two questions within one, right? It's, how do you kind of build that opt-in database, but then how do you execute the email campaign?
Yeah, sorry, that was more on the
and you touched on both though. But just to kind of clarify for those of you that are watching, I don't really think you can execute an email campaign, correct me if I'm wrong, without an existing database. Like I think that's kind of a whole chicken egg type thing.
Yeah, I mean you'd have to have even just a couple people going through your system to trigger those emails, first of all.
And there's a million ways that people are doing this now. One that I used to think was novel, now it's really driving me nuts, is specifically on e-commerce sites. There's this plugin, and I don't know what it's called, but it takes over the whole half page of a website and pops up like a Wheel of Fortune wheel. And if you enter your email, you get to spin it for a chance to win. I'm convinced it's a scam because I've done it 100 times with 100 fake emails. I've never gotten anything higher than 10%. But it's a great way to capture emails. So there's lots of creative ways like that, whether you're e-commerce, product, service, etc. Like Mike mentioned, there's a ton of ways to capture emails. Gated content.
You could give away a free ebook. So put in your email to get sent this free ebook.
Yeah.
If you're a consultant, that's a really good one to use. Maybe it's download a PDF with a few coupons in it for a restaurant. Put in your email and we'll send you this list of coupons. It really depends on the business, and there's a lot of ways to approach it. So if there's any specific questions on that, we can go more in depth next webinar, I guess.
So I probably should have looked at this beforehand. I apologize, guys. What are the best methods to find and connect with influencers?
The best methods, so the best one is always just to email them. If you see somebody you like on YouTube, send them a YouTube message. Usually if they're open to influencer deals, they'll have information there, and you just email them. That way you don't have to go through an agency, you don't have to give up a percentage, you don't have to do anything outside of what you're comfortable with. You just ask them, what would it cost to do this? Write up a simple email template and ask people. The other way, we use a platform called FameBit as well. So it's from YouTube, and it's a platform that does take a percentage of the deal. The transactions are processed through them, but they basically broker the deals. You post your influencer campaign idea, like you want it to look like this, you want somebody to demo a product in this way, and people will propose some ideas. So sometimes there are great proposals and sometimes not so much, but you sift through them, and sometimes you find the perfect fit and find someone that's perfect with a nice audience that's right in your range, right in that customer profile that you're looking for, and they propose a price, and if you want to do it, you can do it.
It's interesting because there's a lot of local platforms that are Toronto-based right now that are in the influencer marketing space.
Yes.
You've got Paid, you've got Peersway, so Persway. Mike mentioned another one a few seconds ago. Tremendous value there because they've got the platform to connect with influencers. But to Mike's point, if you believe in your product, don't be afraid to reach out directly. A great example of this, and again, has nothing to do with any of us specifically or even Digital Main Street. It's a company out of Halifax. It's called East Coast Lifestyle, and I don't even know how I came across them on Instagram, but I follow them because they post really cool stuff. And the founder had an article done on himself, and one of the questions he asked was how he got Sidney Crosby, who's arguably the best hockey player in the world, to wear a sweater. And he said it was very simple. I sent him a sweater in the mail with a handwritten note that explained who we are and what we do. Obviously, Sidney Crosby's from the East Coast. He's from Cape Breton, somewhere like that. Apologize for the hockey fans watching. But so there's really cool examples of that. And one of the trends I've seen in Toronto with some of the quasi-influencers that I just interact with on a daily basis is they're really looking to break kind of that next new brand. So they almost want to find that next, new local, clothing brand or product or something like that. So it's a really cool time to play in the influencer space, I guess.
It is, yeah, very. We do it a lot, and you're right. These influencers are looking for a brand to break, the next new thing, the next trend, because their audience is looking for that. Like they go onto these review sites and look at the next phone, see what the features are, see what the pros, cons are. So the audience really likes that as well. So it's great to be in there, and the best way is just to ask people, because you're not going to get an answer if you don't ask. Some of these other platforms that you mentioned, like Paid, they are a little bit higher end. So the best place to start is testing it out by yourself, and then moving up, maybe you go to a platform like FameBit and test out some stuff there, see if you get anything that you like, and then keep expanding from there. And once you set relationships with these influencers, you can do other campaigns with them as well. You can do repeats, you can do videos every 6 months, and just really get to that audience in an efficient way.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool time for sure. Do we have another question?
Yeah, I'll put the programs.
Okay, so Mike's just going to type the names in there. I'm really glad you asked that because I wrote a note down to remember them and I already forgot them. Another great industry to look at if you just want to see how powerful influencers can be is the subscription model. So, if you guys aren't familiar with this, almost everything nowadays can be bought in a subscription. Literally everything from, shaving razors to underwear to dog food to dog toys to protein powder to, I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen lately, to beauty products, health food, snacks for your office, literally everything. And if you Google, the name of subscription box review, there's going to be about 10 or 12 sites, and there's literally people who make very good livings just reviewing subscription boxes. And they've kind of turned themselves into subscription box influencers. Not that you guys can turn yourselves into your own influencers. I'm just kind of sharing an example of an industry that is doing a very, very good job of playing with that. And then, so I might toss those ones in the chat. What do we have next? Oh, this is a good one because I've seen a pretty big growth in this in 2018, and feel free to comment on that.
Sure.
How can you use Instagram stories to drive sales for your business?
That's a good question, and I'm going to be honest because I have no idea. Instagram stories, that's something I haven't used, but I imagine it would connect deeply with an influencer. If you have an influencer campaign and a story is something that they're willing to do and something you agree upon and it makes sense for their audience, it's a great way, rather than just YouTube or just Facebook, to get in front of people in a different way.
And I know, I don't know, I don't have the viewership numbers off the top of my head, but I do know that Instagram stories have a ridiculously high viewership number.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you have to look at what demographic you're going after. Look at who the predominant users of Instagram are,
Mm-hmm.
who would be watching those stories. But again, I've been suckered into a number of purchases from Instagram stories because, well, one, you're forced to watch them as you're going through stories.
Yeah.
So you can't really skip them. Two, they're very easy because guess what? They show you a product and they say swipe up to buy. Very, very, user friendly. The experience is simple. So I don't think me or Mike, either of us, have kind of expertise in that area. I think the answer is probably be, it's worth exploring at this point.
Yeah, like anything in digital marketing, if you think it's a fit for your audience, it's worth a test. Instagram audience is getting up there, and it's up there with Facebook now, and especially with what's going on with Facebook and the privacy issues, Instagram is a lot more trustworthy. So if it works for your brand, it's absolutely worth the test.
So I'm going to quickly show you guys. I just went through on my Instagram, and 2 stories in, it showed me an advertisement for, hold on a second, Tip Top Tailors. So it's showing me a men's suit thing. Obviously I follow some other style influencers and stuff like that. So that's probably how they've targeted me, but it just says on it, we fit you with the confidence you get when you look and feel great, shop now. So this one's actually very generic because there's no offer, there's nothing. Mm-hmm. Chances are, obviously I didn't interact with it, but there are better examples. I'm just trying to see if any others come up. Oh, interesting. Facebook just sent me one for Facebook gaming. Tap into over 2 billion Facebook users with one-click game discovery and HTML5 development. Okay, so again, maybe not really relevant. They're trying to ask me to build games for Facebook, but anyways. Okay, again, very high level, large scale question. Maybe give us 2 or 3 points. Best way to promote an online store. And let's assume we're talking online only. So sure. There's not a physical store to complement it, just mm-hmm. pure play e-commerce.
Best way for sure is affiliate marketing. If you can set up that platform, your margins, and you're able to offer a piece of that margin to somebody else as a commission to sell your product for you, that's the best way for sure. You don't have to put out any money up front, maybe a little bit or a monthly fee to get the platform and to be able to track the links. But for e-commerce, all you need to do is figure out your margin, your average sale, your margin on that sale, and then offer a percentage of that to somebody else to sell it for you.
So basically get someone else to do the work for you.
Yes.
So you can make slightly less money.
Yes, exactly.
It's a beautiful business model. No, and I feel pretty comfortable in saying that, you'd be shocked at how many companies use affiliate marketing one way or the other. Mm-hmm. We're talking companies as large as, maybe not the traditional affiliate sense where they're sending out links, but, a company like Google uses the principles of affiliate marketing.
Yep.
With partner programs. Most of the biggest companies in the world utilize it. And, to Mike's point, they do it for a reason.
Yeah. And just to expand on that, you can tell too, if you're going around any product site, any advertisement, if you hover over the link and it's, bookmark.com/ and then like 15 characters, then it's an affiliate link and it's being tracked. So from a consumer point of view as well, keep an eye for reviews that are actually affiliate reviews. because they could be planted, and if you click through, people are making money off that. So it's maybe not necessarily a genuine review. Also, articles will do the same thing. But affiliate marketing is very commonly used, and it's just a track. You get exact knowledge of how many sales you're getting, where they're coming from, when they're happening, and how much money you're making from it. So for e-commerce, that's hands down the best way.
Yeah, and most people that are writing articles as influencers or affiliates or whatever terminology you want to give them, they will disclose that.
Yeah.
Like they will, for the most part, the kind of the ones that play above board will write, full disclosure at the end of the article, we received this product, from Bookmark to review. Mike sent me this smartwatch, but the thoughts and, ideas expressed are mine.
Yeah, and I think Instagram put in a policy earlier this year on people have to disclose these sponsored posts now, because people were doing sponsored posts with affiliate links and not telling anyone, which, I guess kind of deceiving from a consumer point of view. Sometimes it's done in a real way, but sometimes it's done in a really spammy way as well. So I think they try to stop that.
And like I saw one the other day that a guy I follow, it's actually the founder of this East Coast lifestyle brand. He posted a thing of himself sitting at a desk saying, "Oh, American Express has made it great to do, XYZ and made it so much easier for me to do my business." Then at the end, #ad.
Yeah.
So they very clearly identified that, he's got a connection to, their client base and stuff like that. But again, very transparent, very open about it, not trying to deceive me or anyone. So if you are going to play in the influencer space, please make sure whoever you're working with is transparent and open and honest. And if you're going to become an influencer at any point throughout your journey, please follow the same. Another good one. Are marketing spend and e-commerce conversion rates the best way to project future revenues for a startup? So we've just started our company. Is the best way for us to project future revenues our marketing spend and our e-commerce conversion rates? So I'm going to assume there that it's an e-commerce only business.
Yep. Conversion rate, it'll come down to that. That's the best way to measure or predict future revenue. And then based on your marketing spend, if you have $1,000 to spend a month, you should be able to find a channel that works best for you in driving traffic and getting that conversion rate. Because if you have a 10% conversion rate, but you've only had 10 people visit your website, that's probably not going to project out in the same way. But if you have 1,000 people visiting your website based on that $1,000 spend, and you just have higher volume and a more true conversion rate, then that's exactly how you would project it out. Because if then you took that $1,000 and made it $10,000, you'll be able to see if that's going to work or not.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to preface this next question by saying I am reading this verbatim. Where are seniors hanging out online? And what about women ages 40 to 60? So it sounds like, whoever asked this question probably has a product or service that caters, middle-aged elderly individuals. I don't know if there's a black and white answer on.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would say to be safe, it's Google, YouTube, and Facebook, like most other people. That's where most of the internet is. And when you are targeting for ads specifically, when you're targeting and spending on these platforms, you can say, I don't want to advertise to under 55-year-olds, for example. So that's a guaranteed way to get to those people, just doing Google ads, doing Facebook ads, but not advertising to the younger people. In terms of specifically where they hang out online, I'm not sure. That's a tough one.
I'm not sure I want to know, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we have a question here from someone asking if they can show us their landing page to get feedback. If whoever that is watching, please feel free to either comment the link and your email address, and we'll privately review it and get back to you, or send me an email and respond to one of the emails I sent you with your landing page, but we'll happily give you some feedback. But they also asked a question, advice on what are the best plugins to use for WordPress for landing pages.
So it depends on the goal of your landing page. I would assume most landing pages are to accomplish a goal of either a sale or most commonly collecting an email. The best plugin that I know of for that is called Sumo. And it's just a simple newsletter opt-in that pops up, and you can schedule it to get it to pop up at specific times. Yeah. So if they're about to move their cursor up and click X or click back on the screen, it'll pop up and show them something that's attractive, like 20% off or something like that. So that's a really good one. For basic ones, Google Analytics, if you're not tracking how many people are visiting your landing page and how many people are accomplishing your goal, then nothing really matters. You need to be tracking that to see if changes work. And then just in terms of setup, making sure your messaging is right from headline to getting people down to that goal. If you have text or a video, that always improves everything.
Yeah, I think, we started this off talking about kind of the consumer and customer experience and all that, and I think this ties directly back into it.
It does, yeah. If you're speaking directly to that person that's visiting your landing page and that's your exact customer, if you have a big headline that says exactly what you do clearly and exactly what you're offering, the exact benefits of your product, then it's pretty straightforward. And if they see your offer on your landing page, so if they go down, if everything looks good, they see the title, it looks good, they see the benefits, they're intrigued, they watch a video, they're intrigued. At the bottom, if they're asked to put in their email to get, a free ebook or something like that to get more tips and more information, then that's something that they're just going to do if it makes sense for them.
Yeah, a software that I've used in the past and I really love, and again I have no affiliation with it, pun fully intended, is called Hotjar. Hotjar. And basically what that allows you to do with a very simple website is, bring up like heat maps and, see where people are moving their cursor on your site and where they're clicking and how they're interacting with your website. So if you're not getting the results you need, you can very easily, along with your analytics, it doesn't, definitely doesn't replace Google Analytics, but it allows you to see, exactly, where on that screen someone is moving their mouse, where they're clicking, why they're not clicking here, and what you can do to change that. So, if you've noticed that someone's not clicking the link that you want because they consistently are clicking somewhere else where there isn't a link, you can fix that. And it's very simple to install, very cost effective.
Yeah, that's a great one, because analytics, when you install that, it'll be straightforward numbers. It'll be what your percentage of people coming into that page are and what percentage are bouncing, what percentage are going to your goal and clicking the button, what percentage are just exiting right away. But when you see the heat maps of what people are doing with their cursor, you could make a pretty good assumption if people see that first above the fold landing page that you have and they're clicking X right away, you probably need to change that. So that's a great way of seeing what people see initially, if they like it, and how far they scroll down.
And just kind of taking the question a little more literally, best plugin for landing pages, not necessarily to make a landing page, but if you're going to use Google Analytics and you're a little scared of the Google platform, Monster Insights is a very, very good WordPress plugin. It's very simple to install and it connects right to your analytics. So right on the back end of your WordPress website, you can see everything Mike just mentioned, bounce rate, click through, all that stuff. You can see all that on your WordPress backend. Okay, so I've got two other questions for Mike, and then we'll stay on for 5-10 minutes and see if you guys that are watching have any direct questions you want to ask. These are the last two questions from individuals that registered. Are there any new advertising platforms that may be rising in popularity and would make sense to jump on now?
Yes, YouTube. YouTube is the biggest one. So again, it goes back to video marketing. You can advertise on YouTube, and I'm sure everyone here has tried to watch a video and there's 5 seconds at the beginning that you have to watch before skipping. And there's a lot of aspects that work for YouTube. So there's that initial pre-roll advertisement. They have suggested video advertisements. When it rolls over to the next video, it could be going to your advertisement or your channel page. And you can show up in search results as an ad. So there's a lot of ways to go about it, and it's fairly underutilized right now. I mean, lots of people use YouTube advertising, but considering it's the second largest search engine in the world, there's nowhere near as much advertising as there is on Google search. So that's a good opportunity right now, and people are learning more visually than ever. Like I said earlier, with the conversion rates, people that watch a video on your homepage are 72% more likely to convert. So showing advertisements in video form, you can get a lot of information in 5 seconds. So you can deliver exactly the benefits of your product, or if it's an e-commerce store, exactly what you're selling. And it does connect with people, and it does stick with people. So YouTube's definitely number one for me. Instagram is also growing a lot. I have a lot less experience in Instagram advertising, so I can't really go in depth on that, but YouTube is my number one.
And I think, without singling out anyone specifically, but I think we're starting to see a shift in kind of out of home advertising. So, digital signage in the streets, and, a company out of Toronto that's doing some really cool stuff is Portal Media, Portl Media, and they do touchscreens in the back of Ubers. So as an advertising platform, this is really cool because you can actually target your ads based on where someone is getting dropped off. So you may only get 10 views in a month, but you know that those 10 people were people that were getting dropped off in that 1 block radius. So stuff like that is very interesting. It's unique. It's hyper local. I think for me, it's less about the platform, because I agree completely with what Mike said. I think it's more on this idea of, hyper local, community focused advertising. Whether it's working with business improvement areas, community associations, groups like that, they are tremendous resources. And then the other piece, again, I want to kind of tie back to, not necessarily to advertise your product, but to advertise yourself and just get yourself and your company out there, is LinkedIn. And even just to learn. I spend about an hour a day on LinkedIn, when I get home from work, when I'm on transit in the morning, just reading and following people that post. LinkedIn has now updated their platform, so you can follow hashtags, you can do all of that stuff. So, if you're looking to, the about crypto, LinkedIn. Everything to do with industries that I have no idea about, politics, stuff that I generally wouldn't be interested in, I get from LinkedIn, because it's people like me and Mike and you guys just posting honest commentary and your thoughts and your opinions and feedback and stuff like that. So if you're looking to kind of build yourself up, if you're a service-based business, a consultant, if you're an industry where you're kind of the face of your business, LinkedIn is a great platform that has really taken off in the last 8 to 10 months to get your own personal face and name out there.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it also helps with connecting with the right people. If you're in the business, if you're in the industry that benefits from working with partnerships, it's amazing. You can connect with people, you can start conversations, you can see what they're posting, a lot of the times what they're trying in terms of platforms. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it becomes a great overall resource. So you can kind of unconventionally advertise, but you can also just, better yourself, better your business, better your level of understanding of certain things. You might find partners, all of the above. So to kind of end off with a really large scale question.
Okay.
Mike, what trends do you foresee for next year, 2019, and the next 5 years?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so
so let's start with 2019. Let's
start with 2019.
It's a low-hanging fruit.
AI is going to be more relevant than ever. It's going to be involved in probably most industries and definitely most digital marketing industries. You're going to see Facebook advertising platforms that are completely managed by AI, where you can just put in what you need and the algorithm will take care of the campaigns. It'll get optimized, it'll find the right audience for you, and it'll do everything. So that's one example. We know that chatbots are going to be a big deal, and already are. They're just getting better in terms of their communication with customers and answering questions. So in terms of advertising, building campaigns, looking at analytics, working with customers, eventually for 2019, dynamically changing your website to better personalize the experience for customers, AI is going to be a big factor. So something to keep an eye on and not be afraid of, because it is complicated, but really all you need to know about it is, does it make my job easier? Does it take away tasks that are taking up too much of my resources, which are time and money? So that's definitely something to look at for next year.
Very interesting. And contrary to everyone's belief, AI is not going to result in all of us losing our jobs. In fact, it's just going to help us do our jobs better, more efficiently, to Mike's point. Mm-hmm. So, AI is a good thing. And I think it'll help us in 2019 and beyond. And I think we've already seen it.
Yeah, it's already started this year, like I mentioned earlier, and we're going to keep seeing it. There's going to be a lot of companies that come out and do really useful things. So just, again, another reason to stay on LinkedIn, follow up with the news, and just see what's happening, because one of these things could make your business a lot easier to run.
Yeah, and I think, from a non-digital marketing standpoint, just an overall trend, I think I'm gonna kind of claim to see coming in 2019. So, a year from now, we can all kind of regroup and either point fingers or give me the thumbs up. But I'm gonna harp again on this idea of hyper-local, but also on, I think you're gonna see the traditional business in a sense disappear. So what I mean by that is, you're going to see your traditional retailers who will also do other stuff. I know you hear nowadays a lot of times it's no longer sales per square foot, it's experience per square foot. So you'll see, traditional retailers continuing to shift towards more of an experience-based thing. I think you'll see traditional service-based businesses start to adapt their business models. Whether you're, let's see some examples I've done, a chiropractor that has a retail component, or, a consultant that then, sells white papers or ebooks or stuff like that. So I think, all of the tools that we've talked about, everything that we've talked about is basically going to allow businesses to adapt and grow in ways that they probably haven't thought of. Yeah. I do see we have a question from Jody here. Do you recommend new entrepreneurs just start and learn as they go along, or hire someone to help with starting up and trying to figure it out can be the most challenging part of the process? So I guess I'll kick this off and feel free to jump in. I think it just depends on, one, your level of comfortability. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if we're being blunt, your level and ability to invest financially in someone to help you. But also, I guess if you're going to ask me for a black and white answer, I'd say I probably wouldn't hire someone until I've exhausted all resources. There's too many free resources nowadays that you can take advantage of. And I'm going to plug both of ourselves right here. Bookmark has a great e-learning platform. So obviously built into their entire thing is, online courses that you can go through, blog posts, stuff like that. They do a tremendous job. In Digital Main Street ourselves, we just launched an 8-module course. It's all video-based training, and it's all high level to kind of give you that high-level overview. But along with that, the Toronto Public Library is doing fantastic stuff, both online and in their centers. Lynda.com, which is LinkedIn's online learning platform. Udemy.com, which will give you courses for $15 that are 30 hours in length.
Yeah, all video, really easy to understand. Yeah.
And even the larger companies, sorry to cut you off there, Mike. Google just launched their Grow with Google program. So if you visit grow.google, they've got tools for business owners, for students, for entrepreneurs. Shopify just launched their Shopify Academy. Mm-hmm. So from an e-commerce standpoint, Shopify's got that. Microsoft has their online small business blog. Any of the Google products, they have what are they called? The Google Academy for Ads.
Yeah, they have certifications.
Yeah, so Google has free certifications.
SEO, advertising, that type of thing.
Yeah, so I'm not saying don't hire someone. I'm just saying, until you've kind of exhausted those options. And I know sometimes it can be tough because time is limited when you're starting, because chances are you're probably doing something else. There's just a lot. And sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go back to the question. Do you recommend new entrepreneurs just start and learn as they go along, or hire someone to help start up? I would say absolutely try to do it yourself. If you can learn how to do it, it gives you the knowledge to hire someone, first of all. I've seen it a lot in the past where companies will hire an AdWords agency knowing nothing about AdWords and just get ripped off because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to judge it. They don't know how to look at it as a channel. But to Daryl's point, if you go online, there's so many free resources. I just typed in SEO for beginners 2018. there are 603 million results. So like you can find out any of this information if you have the time. If you're starting out, I know there's a lot going on and at every stages of a startup, but it's important to make the time to learn what you can. If it's only to be able to delegate it, because if you have the time and you can run everything yourself, even better, you don't have to pay anyone else. But if you learn about it, at least enough to delegate it and understand the value in it and see what people are providing when you hire them, that's very valuable. So I definitely recommend going as far as you can by yourself and using the free resources at your disposal. Google free courses, paid courses. Some of these courses are like Udemy starting at $15 to do a free advertising course. Bookmark offers them for free. There's so much out there. So do your best to try to learn on your own.
Yeah, and last little hack, if you have a Toronto Public Library card, you can actually access lynda.com for free as well. I learned that the other day.
I didn't know that.
And then the other thing, Jody, for you specifically, as you're trying to start your business, if you're located in Toronto or really any major city center, they've all got small business enterprise centers, and they all run programming specific to helping entrepreneurs get started. So whether that's business plan reviews or, helping you, on the marketing side of things, generate a strategy, whatever it might be, it's everything from legal to accounting to you name it. So if you're in Toronto, it's Enterprise Toronto. I'd be happy to chat with you offline about that though. Please feel free to email us. So I guess before we hop off, do any of the people watching have any other questions they want to ask that we can address now? We'll give you a few minutes to think and potentially type something in. If not, we will, thanks. Awesome. You're welcome, Jody. Happy to help. Happy you stayed with us through all of this. It was our first time. And I promise you we're only going to get better.
Yes, that's the plan.
Our production value is going to increase. We're going to get fancy graphics and stuff, and it's going to be great. We may even just turn this into a regular thing. Their own we'll get our own logo and everything.
Yeah, we could do that.
It's going to be cool.
I could see that.
But no, like I said, if you guys have any questions, please, I'm going to send you an email to follow up probably today. Just with a link to both Bookmark's website, because again, they have great free resources. I'll send you a link to our free course as well as to the recording of this. So if you guys want to go back and watch it. Just looking at that question, do you guys offer consulting services to know we are going down the right path? I don't think either of us do directly.
No. We know a lot of people and we have a lot of information if you have any questions, but directly, no.
Yeah. Depending on what you're asking, I would probably recommend Enterprise Toronto as well, if you're Toronto based, if not any of the other small business enterprise centers, because they are, municipal arms of their local city, and they provide tremendous value for small business owners as well as those just trying to get started. In a digital space, if you're looking to learn, like I said, Bookmark free courses, Digital Main Street free courses. But if we're looking at kind of overall business best practices of consulting, I definitely look at the small business enterprise centers. So I guess I'll just kind of ramble for a few more seconds and see if anyone's going to type anything. No, and honestly, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you, I'm getting a phone call from my mother. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is our first time doing it. We tried something new.
Yeah.
We really just wanted to give you guys something, answer the questions that you specifically had, because we know there's not a one size fits all solution for every single person.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it a little tough to do a webinar and answer specific questions in general terms. So I guess moving forward, if you guys like this, any specific questions, let us know. Let us know in the follow-up, reply to Daryl.
Yeah, because we are going to be doing more. I know we started this one purposely to ease ourselves into it.
Yeah,
that's a high-level overview.
Make sure the live stream works.
Yeah, but we will be doing more, and we will be looking at focus topics, whether it be e-commerce, website, social, etc. Really anything. So please, as I send you a follow-up, don't hesitate to reach out and say, we'd love to hear one on X, or we have this question, or we'd love to just chat about any of the above.
Yeah, I think we had a question about reviewing landing pages. We could have probably a whole webinar based on that and best practices, if that's something people are interested in. So again, just let us know.
Yeah, we'll probably, we're October 30th. I suspect we'll probably have another one before the end of the year. Don't quote me on that. But you know, I can definitely say we'll try.
Yeah.
So you know, I'll send an email out today. We'll try and get you kind of a recap of all these resources in the next, you know, 3 to 4 days. Just gives us time to put together kind of an in-depth guide, as well as, you know, share the recording and stuff. And then from there, if you guys, to Mike's point, you know, you want a specific session, you have a specific question that we can answer quickly, please just let us know. We really want these things to be about you guys. We really want to answer your questions, and really want to make them on, you know, kind of, you know, what you guys want them to be. So I guess I'm officially going to hit stop broadcast in 5 seconds. So, you know, I've always wanted to say this in an open forum, so speak now or forever hold your peace. But other than that, just want to thank you guys for coming. You know, again, Mike McMillan, head of product at Bookmark, Daryl Jalot, I'm with Digital Main Street. And yeah, please don't hesitate to ask us any questions. Until next time. Adios.